for the faint of the MAC is not for the faint of heart. Okay, it is.
I agree, but when you go through a month and you're watching Conference USA like on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and then you go to MACtion, it's night and day.
You should be so lucky. MAC should be on all the year round. I want MAC football year round channel 24/7 nonstop. That's what I want.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. Draft Digest. The sickest NFL draft and scouting podcast. It's gonna be sick.
Welcome back to another episode of the Sick Podcast Draft Digest. I'm Emily Van Buskirk alongside John Vogel. We're back and we're sorry we missed you last week. That was my bad, but we've got a lot more football to talk about.
It was me too. Okay.
The season's catching up with me. I will say that on record.
Yeah. And everybody's getting this, whatever this sickness is. I mean, Micah Parsons was sick before Monday Night Football. Like, he showed up on the injury report Saturday with an illness, and I'm pretty sure he got what everybody else is getting. My daughter's had it twice. I've had it twice now. I don't know what
when you have kids around, that's you're guaranteed to just be sick all the time. So
that's it. That's exactly it.
Yeah,
so
that's tough. I didn't get sick, but I'm just tired. I can't believe we're in week 11. This season. I feel like a lot of people say this every year, but this season really did go by super quick.
Yeah, and let me start with something that might be a little bit of a hot take. I know I'm the manufactured hot take artist on the show.
Let me crack open my Celsius for this. I might need it.
Yeah, he might. Let's stop talking about the quarterbacks until like March. You know, we get to the combine.
You're saying do not talk about the quarterbacks at all?
Let's just forget about them for a while. You know, this class is so bad.
Oh boy.
From top to bottom. It's so bad. And as I sit here and I'm doing my reports and I've got a new setup here that I've kind of switched over to, and it was because the guide kind of went through this weird shift where I had to move everything over. The Microsoft account that I was using to build it on locked out on me, and I never did a 2-factor authentication. So Microsoft basically said, "You're out of luck." And I was like, "Oh, shoot." So I did manage to get most of it moved over before it completely locked me out. So it kind of had me redesign a few things because now my creative juices started going, and I'm like, okay, now it's time.
And sometimes that's the shove you need sometimes.
Especially if you're as autistic as I am. You know what I mean? Like that's probably a major factor here. But so now I've got the scouting reports are built into a board essentially. So I can sit here and I can sort. If I like a guy a little bit better, I can move him up and down the board as I want to.
Okay.
I'm having so much trouble putting anybody in the first round right now. And because, you know, obviously I've been one of the Garrett Nussmeier truthers. I'm starting to see what some people kind of told me about. And this last week kind of showed me a few parts of Nussmeier with, you know, is this guy coachable? That's the question. You know, you lose your head coach, you lose the offensive coordinator, they switch the staff around, and you still got benched. And when you went over to the sideline after a dumb throw, you look disinterested. And I don't want to read too much into sideline language. That's not my forte, but not a great look, not a great going. And it kind of backs up some of the stuff that has been floating around about him, and where maybe, you know, he thinks that, I don't know if it's my dad's a coach, so I know more than most of these other people, especially as successful as his dad's been, or what. But that is going to be a little bit of a problem. So I don't really like anybody in these first 3 rounds right now. I don't think we can guarantee any of these underclassmen come out. I don't want to start thinking like that. So maybe we can talk about quarterbacks if Mendoza declares for the draft, or if Ty Simpson declares for the draft.
I really have a feeling that Ty Simpson, he's the one I think for will go. That's what I just have a feeling about that.
It would be, and I saw Dane Brugler talking about him. And,
Yeah.
hey, let's get ready to have this conversation. He doesn't have enough starts. I don't care what Dane said. He does not have enough playing time. And I like him a lot as a prospect, but I would not take him first round. Somebody will if he goes, but he does not have enough playing time. You're going to have some massive up and downs trying to get him situated to the level of the NFL. He just doesn't have enough playing time yet. He needs another year. And I hope he takes it. I really do. But
it's tough to say because we talked about this before. Why would you go out now? I guess if the class is weaker and you have a better chance, okay. But in a world where you're making, ostensibly you're making this much money, why would you not ride that out if they're going to pay you more than you would make as a rookie? For the most part. It's not true of every contract, but for the most part, why would you?
And it goes back to what I was talking about a couple weeks ago, too, with the equity deal that the Big Ten is working on, which there's some pushback to it right now. USC and Michigan is kind of pushing back to it because they apparently don't want
USC is part of the problem.
Right, yeah. They don't want these schools that don't run their budgets very well to be presented with all of this extra money, which is kind of interesting when you think about it. It's an interesting point that you bring up there. I mean, it's not, but that's a whole nother debate.
That's so funny though that Michigan would be in that conversation. Like you would never have thought that years and years ago, but now that we are where we are and what's happened has happened, that's crazy.
Yeah, and so outside of what we just said, I don't think we really need to talk about quarterbacks probably for a long time because we're just going to be regurgitating the same thing on the show every week if we do. And there's a lot of really good players out there.
There are.
Very exciting. I can start with Carnell Tate.
Okay.
That's an exciting player. I initially kind of shit on this wide receiver class. And I think there were a few guys that I did not realize were out of eligibility. Denzel Boston at Washington is one of those guys I did not realize was out of eligibility. He has to come out this year. I think Mekhi Lemon probably comes out from USC. Yeah. Speaking of USC, he's really fun as a number 2. And then a lot of people talked about Jordan Tyson. I'm not as high on him. I do think he can be a good player. He's there. And then when you get into this second round stuff, there's so many of them. Casey Concepcion could come out from Texas A&M. He's had a great year. Jeremy Bernard is going to have to come out. Elijah Surratt is going to have to come out. Chris Bell at Louisville is going to have to come out. And the list just keeps going on. And you're just like, man, this is actually not a bad wide receiver class at all. There's a lot of really fun guys in this class that is going to be great to infuse in the NFL. So what this is going to create, you're going to see some massive trades this offseason at the quarterback position. I'm not quite ready to bet my life savings on it. I'm close. But I think you see Kyler Murray get moved this offseason from Arizona. I think there's a good chance you see Tua Tagovailoa get moved from Miami this offseason.
To retirement, because that's...
No, it won't be for retirement. Somebody else will give him
I'm just
shot.
saying, like, please, Lord, medically, I can't watch it anymore.
He had a concussion in like 2 years, so he's doing okay. He's
just because I'm going to get started on. See, we're not even going to get started on it, but that man's been through enough. It's just enough. At what cost is all of this? I always tell the story. You probably don't remember this guy at all because this would be such a deep cut. But there was a kid that went to Stanford. He was a two-way player. His name was Owen Marisic. He was actually the only guy or the first guy to score a touchdown on offense and then turn around and score on the next play on defense. He's a legend. He's a fullback. He is a Jim Harbaugh guy through and through.
Seahawks is who he played for in the NFL, didn't he?
He played for the Browns, and he mostly played special teams. He went in and he's incredible. And he probably could have had, you know, a career like that as a special teams guy, like a tough, you know, can run into a wall every play kind of guy. I mean, but he quit after 2 years because it wasn't worth it. The cost risk analysis of his life. And you know what he did? He became a brain surgeon, and now that's what he does. So
phenomenal.
I always tell that story when I'm like, is this worth it for some of these guys?
I would probably venture to. I can't speak for Tua because I'm not Tua.
Obviously, they all have to make these choices themselves, but you hate to see people go through
it's a decision that he and his family have made, and they're comfortable with it. And I think that contract makes it a lot more comfortable. You know, than it was probably he's probably getting paid a little bit more than your Stanford fullback two-way player legend.
I
mean, much more.
Right. But there really isn't a price on contributing to society the way a neuroscientist can. But
yeah, no, I hear
tomato, I guess. Anyway, so there's going to be a lot of quarterback movement. Is your thought process? So there's going to be a need for.
Well, what it is because there's not quarterbacks in this class. And then we've seen the resurrection projects the last few years. Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold. Daniel Jones now joins that crowd. You could even make an argument for who is that other guy? The Mac Jones is potentially going to get a shot somewhere because he's looked pretty serviceable with the 49ers this year. There's going to be a lot of movement, and it could be chaotic when we get to free agency period, when trades are allowed to start happening again with the league new year, because there's a lot of quarterback openings right now.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty fair to say Justin Fields is not going to be back with the Jets. That's probably a really good destination for Kyler Murray, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
That would be with the Jets. The Saints question still out. I didn't agree with benching Spencer Rattler. I thought he was doing pretty well, all things considered. But they went ahead and made that decision, so that's where they are. As I go through the list of teams here, Cleveland has got to figure out their quarterback situation because Deshaun Watson probably is not with that team next year. Whether that's a retirement or a forced cut, and they just eat the funds that they still owe him, that's going to happen. And Dylan Gabriel has not looked very good.
Shocker.
At all this year. And I'm sure we'll see Shador at some point. I wouldn't expect too much there. Does Geno Smith come back to play another year? Probably. How good do you feel about that? The Raiders could be in the quarterback market.
Okay.
That could be a team as well. Going through, I'm in the NFC now. Does Minnesota stick with McCarthy? That's another question. He's been okay. He hasn't been great. I know my friend Thor Nystrom would kill me for saying that. But, you know, JJ, there's not a lot of upside with his game. That's kind of the issue. And, you know, we could sit here and talk about mental reps versus, you know, real reps. He's had a lot of mental reps, had the year last year, the injury. Something is still not sticking there. I'm not sure what the issue is. And I've seen the Vikings play now the last 3 games. And I watched 4 of their games before their bye break. And, you know, obviously for some of those he wasn't playing, but for some of them he was. It's just not impressive at all. And that, like, there's just something missing with that team. And it seems to be the quarterback position. Now their offensive line's been all over the place, but he just hasn't played very well. Giants, probably not. Jackson Dart looks like he's probably the franchise. Good pick. Finally, they made a good pick. And I want to keep an eye on this Jaden Daniels deal. I'm not saying Washington's going to be in the market for a quarterback, but they may get their hand forced if he doesn't stay healthy. And the only reason I bring this up is because a lot of people pointed to the fact that he was hurt on the same field, on the same yard line, in the same down and distance situation as RG3 was against Seattle, the same team, which that stadium, like Washington in general, has a lot of really weird coincidences like that. If you go back to the Alex Smith and the Joe Theismann injuries being identical at the same yard line, same down against the same team.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be superstitious here, but I'm saying that we need to monitor the Daniels injury situation and kind of keep an eye on that. Make sure that's not going to be something that lingers, because that's scary, with that history. But there's going to be a lot of there's several teams right there, and there's not enough rookies coming in to compete for these jobs, which means the veterans are going to get shuffled around. Somebody's going to draft one too high, maybe two too high. Though we don't know. 21. They didn't draft. They drafted Kenny Pickett, and that was it. That was the Steelers. They let Ritter and Willis drop into the third round. So who knows? Maybe it'll be another year like that. But it's gonna be fun. The free agency period is gonna be fun, I guess, is my point. It's gonna be wild to see what people do.
Yeah. It's weird to think. I know it's so hard for me to think that far down the line right now, because my mind is just in knots over all the playoff rankings and the championship pictures for all these different conferences. I mean, there's MAC games on right now that are going to decide who's going to be in the hunt there. And I feel like this is the first time in a while where a lot of conferences, like the Mountain West, the MAC, for example, are up in the air. And it's going to come down to these last, sometimes it comes down to like the last game or whatever, but it's crazy this year.
The American is up in the air too.
Yeah.
We keep flipping between South Florida and Navy and Memphis, and
it's a little more hammered. It's like USF's to lose. Now, that being said, they still have to play, teams where anybody can be anybody. I feel like that's kind of how it is. But I think USF, to be honest with you, is one of the best teams I've ever seen come out of this conference. They're so just athletic. They're dominant. They follow Golish to the end of the earth. He's such a great coach. As heartbreaking as some of these games have been for me to watch, because I do love Memphis and I do love Navy, it has been really fun to see USF succeed. Yeah. And Byron Brown, what? Like, I think if you had told me a couple years ago when I first saw him, like that he was going to be like this level of athlete, I would not have believed it. He has just come into his own. It's been really fun. So.
It's like Byron Brown as if Felipe Franks had played in the American. You know what I mean?
That is very weirdly very accurate. Yes, I agree.
And so with Brown, I don't even really see him as a quarterback prospect. I see him as a tight end prospect.
Yeah.
Because he's got the size, he's got the physicality. Mm-hmm. If you really wanted to have fun and you really wanted to see something happen, and maybe like, if this guy happens to go out there and run like a 4.58 or something, shoot, man, put him back there at running back. Derrick Henry. I'm telling you, there's something there.
With you, but they need him to play quarterback.
Well, no, I'm talking.
Like if they didn't need him there and they could do that, then yes, 100%. And honestly, I bet you there's a play dialed up somewhere in Golish's, Rolodex to that effect, because that's the kind of stuff that he does.
Well, I think Brown's caught a couple passes this year.
Yeah, he has. He has.
And he stretched the field, if I'm not mistaken, with them. They weren't just little Philly specials going back, little flip throws. They were pretty intense.
They're fun. That's why I love this generation of new young coaches and play calling. I am enamored with it. I think it's so fun to watch that and actually like enjoy football again, instead of just playing not to lose and just playing just so boring. So this season's been fun. I'm not going to put Indiana in I'm still not sold. I understand that was the catch of the century and it was the game of the week, but I'm waiting because there's something off and I don't know what it is yet.
Let's talk about that for a second.
I knew it was going to come up, so I had to bring it up.
That was probably the most impressive catch I've ever seen in my life.
Yes.
Now,
Not the most
obviously,
impressive throw, but-
OBJ,
Mhm.
OBJ, the throw, absolutely not. But and that's why I'm telling you we don't need to be talking about quarterbacks for another couple months.
Right.
But Cooper, obviously the OBJ catch is by itself single-handedly probably the best catch of all time. I think you could probably put the immaculate reception up there, but nobody
100%.
knows how that happened.
Yeah.
You could.
What about the Jail Mary? I don't
Remind
know.
me the Jail Mary.
This may be out of your wheelhouse because this was Pac-12, peak Pac-12 Arizona.
Was this Neuheisel at the end? Was that?
It was Arizona State quarterback Mike Bercovici. Remember Berco?
Vaguely.
He threw a game-winning Hail Mary touchdown pass to wide receiver Jalen Strong against
USC.
And
I remember
the Jail
that.
Mary, and
I remember that. I didn't realize that was probably before my social media time.
I don't know if it's that old. 2014.
Yeah, I didn't get into Twitter till like 2018.
Well, fair enough. This was, and there's been a lot of ones like that in the Pac-12 that just people don't know about because A, no one was awake to watch it on the East Coast, and B, it's in the Pac-12. But that was peak Pac-12, before kind of After Dark, but it was After Dark before it was called After Dark. But the Jail Mary, I think, deserves to be in the conversation.
That should be up there.
Yeah.
And then
I'm sure there's a list somewhere.
Dwight Clark is probably up there too.
Oh, of course, Dwight. Yes. They have a statue of that outside of the Niners Stadium in Bronx.
I mean, even watching that on the old fuzzy tapes, you're like, man, he got 2 feet down too. Like, that was a heck of a catch. But the Omar Cooper, I'm saying that's probably one of the, if not the best catch of all time, because first off, the stakes on that game, the pressure on that moment,
right?
And then to go up there, and I'm telling you, when he came down, and I was watching it live. I didn't watch that game in full.
I didn't either. So I've only seen
it's Indiana, Penn State. Penn State just got blown up by Ohio State. Like, this is not going to be a game. I was watching until exactly.
Yeah, but that's like one of those games.
BYU and Texas Tech.
Oh yeah, which was incredible. Texas. I mean, not incredible.
There were 4 others on. I was just like, no, not that one.
No, but Penn State. That's one of those games where when I saw it on the schedule, I was like, everyone's going to be like, no, Penn State, this isn't their year, whatever. But they come off losing the coach. They have really nothing. You know what I mean? Like, that's a game.
They got nothing to play for. Yeah.
Right. I mean, that sounds terrible to say it like that, but that's a kind of game where you have to be careful. And I think Indiana, they learned that real quick. And I was sitting there and I was like, this might be an upset game, but they toughed it out. That's grit.
Just first off, to have the body control, to take that contact in midair. I don't know if you've ever taken contact in midair before.
I have playing soccer in college. I have.
Yeah, you usually don't have a lot of control over where you're going. And Omar Cooper managed to get 2 feet down perfectly. I mean, that was the awareness in that situation to get the, use the toe on the 1 foot to make sure that you don't step out just barely, there's probably not more than a grass blade length between him and the sideline and his heel.
Yeah.
Freaking phenomenal catch.
How do you think that catch, ranks with I don't know if you'll remember this one, but Jeremiah Smith's one-handed catch off the deflection? They're obviously very different, but a name you didn't mention when you were talking about receivers was Jeremiah Smith. So I was curious.
Yeah, because he's not even eligible for this year.
Okay.
That's the crazy thing. Yeah. He's not eligible till next year, He's a true sophomore. So that's why he didn't come up because he's
I thought he was. I didn't realize he was a true sophomore. I thought he was.
He's a true. That's what's been so incredible. Like, he is Julio Jones reincarnated, basically.
Yeah, that catch was impressive in traffic. the movement of it. It's one thing when you're reaching up and you're catching a ball that's just been lofted and you do have to get your feet down. But his catch to me is impressive because of the movement, because of all the bodies around and how he had to redirect the ball. And like, it was just like poetry.
Yeah, that one was really good.
Yeah.
But I would put this one
ahead of it.
I put Omar's ahead because I think Fernando was trying to throw that ball away. I think that's what he was trying to do. I'm pretty sure he had no intention of completing that pass. Mm-hmm. So that's the first thing. Jeremiah's catch didn't come with as much on the line as Indiana.
It wasn't like 100%.
They're the number 2 team in the country. They're playing unranked Penn State, who just fired James Franklin.
Yeah.
This is playoff time. This could potentially, knock you out of the. It gives you no room for error now for the Big Ten championship.
Yep.
Because Oregon is knocking on the door. Grant, you've got the tiebreaker over Oregon. I get it, but you lose another one, you're done.
Yeah.
Like, you're not. It's going to be Ohio State and Oregon.
Scary.
Yeah. So, that was. It was.
It was
I was very impressed because of the gravity of the situation.
It was cinematic. It was like, for sure. I get what you're saying. I have to ask you, with everything going on in the conversation about James Madison, where do you fall in this? Are you pro Dukes? Are you anti? Do you not think they belong? Like, I've been wanting to ask you because I know you're going to.
Yeah. I actually just watched him play the 72 game.
Okay. 75 game.
75 game. Excuse me. My bad.
No worries.
I
thought Marshall was going to, because it was 75. I was watching that as well, just because I know it gets weird. And they did give a fight for a while. But I thought it was going to be a little closer.
They have James Madison's got a very underrated defense for the group of 5 or group of 6, whatever we're calling it now.
It's good. It's group of
Pac-12, the Pac-12 is going to be down there. Even next year.
Oh boy.
Well, really, it's going to be the Elite 2, the Power 2, and then the Group of 6 is what it's going to end up being.
Yeah.
But
everybody else. Do you think they deserve to be in the conversation? The player.
It depends. I knew where the question was going, because South Florida, Memphis, North Texas, and Navy are all better, in my opinion. Hands down.
Interesting.
And that pains me to say. I'm sitting here with my Freedom shirt on. I got my Army flag.
We'll talk about the Army reveal too. Don't worry. We're going to talk about
fantastic.
That.
Beautiful. Anyways.
You really think that JMU, and listen, this hurts me to say, because I love Newberry. I love Navy. It has now been decided I cannot go to Navy games anymore because I was at the North Texas Navy game. Went terribly. Absolutely.
You're the reason.
Yeah, I am the reason. And I have now been banned by their fan base, who usually loves me. I am officially a jinx. Every time I go to their games, they lose. Whatever.
Well, you didn't go to Notre Dame this weekend, did you?
No, I didn't. But I told
it wasn't
somebody.
You.
Well,
it wasn't you.
Listen, the night before the game or so, I was talking to some people, and I'd been having some cocktails, and I said that people should bet on Navy because the 28 points was too much.
No.
Yeah, I can't even talk about it.
I told you not to do that.
I can't even talk about it.
I told you not to do that.
I can't talk about it. But I will say this, as much as I love Navy, I love Newberry, I love the offense, their defense it's bad. I honestly think James Madison, while they may not edge them out offensively with the talent that Navy has, defensively, I do think they're a better team than Navy defensively, if you look at the body of work. So then that kind of puts them even. So, I guess you could
at that
say,
point, when you have an even matchup like that, the way that I see it is, okay, first off, trenches. Who's going to win the trenches?
Yeah.
Navy every time.
Yeah, you would think, but you would think.
Well, first off, the Notre Dame game, Notre Dame is really damn good in the trenches.
I see that. I see that.
Marcus Freeman is a legitimate coach. He knows what he's doing, building teams. That is a very difficult team to go in there and play, especially as a group of 5.
No, I'm not judging them based off of Notre Dame, but I'm telling you, I witnessed the North Texas is not that great of a trench team. They're okay.
Yeah.
So that game to me, and you could be like, oh, it's an anomaly, it's a one-off, whatever. No, that was very bad play. And if they can do that there, they can do it again. And that's what's that's where I am with them. And the same thing with I didn't say Tulane, but Memphis. There's times that Memphis, they obviously are talented without a fully healthy Brendan Lewis, though. That's a problem, right? Mm-hmm. And we know he's not fully. I mean, he's just not. Yeah. He just hasn't been, and that's unfortunate. But there's times that they do those things. So really, I think you're looking at South Florida as being the only one, in my opinion. I mean, North Texas, I guess, yes. But they really haven't played anybody. So it's like, why can't James Madison be in that conversation?
I think they probably could be. It's just the eye test with me says that those 4 teams are a lot better.
Okay.
And a lot of the problems with James Madison come back to Alonzo Barnett. He's been really good at certain times, but he's been very inconsistent. Yes. He's not a great thrower at all. And that's kind of the thing that every time I watch James Madison, even the last couple of years, I'm like, man, if they had a better quarterback, like they would be so good,
Aww.
Like just a guy who could throw the ball a little bit better. Like he flashes, he'll make a great throw and you're like, oh man, he can do it. And then he comes back and you're like, no.
He does make mistakes. Yes. And that's probably the biggest argument, of having them be a representative, because if they do get in and then have to play these teams that will make you pay dearly for mistakes, they're not a team that can recover, it would appear, as well as someone like USF, who can they've been there, done that. They can let it roll off and they can bounce back. So I get that from that standpoint, but people are out here like throwing rocks. I think I saw a tweet today. Someone drove to James Madison to throw rocks at the campus because that's how mad people are about it. And I was like, why are we mad about this? They're doing kind of an unthinkable thing in joining the FBS and being good. Like, we're going to shame them for that? That's crazy.
No, I think South Florida is probably the best in that group.
Yeah.
Now, they got Navy this week.
Yeah, which is never easy, especially at Navy, but they're a foil for how Navy plays. So I'm not hopeful.
The question that I have is South Florida going to Maryland this time of year? Traditionally has not gone well.
Yeah. How can you how coaches like mimic playing conditions with like noise, or obviously if we've seen.
You're not mimicking that cold you're going to get up there in Maryland.
How do you do that? I guess you can't really.
No. Funny. You could go into the indoor facility and you could
make it a cryo chamber.
Crank the AC up as high as it'll go and get it down to 60 and really make those guys start to feel it a little bit, know. It's still not going to be enough.
Yeah, it's
that's not something that you're able to replicate. And so that would be my question with that game. And I think if they lose that game, it's really hard to include them in it with 3 losses.
Yeah.
It's very hard to do that.
It's impossible. It's impossible. How could you justify it?
And I think that's why North Texas is still in the conversation.
Yeah.
And I agree. They haven't played anybody.
Yes.
But they beat Navy. They beat Navy.
I will say
that's the big one.
They did, and they put up impressive numbers, and they're very clearly very talented offensively.
Yeah.
But
no, they'll get murdered that's the problem. They'll get murdered if they play any of these teams here that are in the playoff right now. Because if we consider the ACC is going to have their representative right now, that's Miami. Let's just say
which
they match up with Miami. Let's just say that.
That's like best case, right? I think.
Miami
has its own pitfalls, so
I agree. I'm just saying that's who it is right at this current moment. That's the highest ranked ACC team.
Yeah.
That's who it is at this very moment.
Does
anybody want that? That's another conversation. Does anybody want to win that conference? Like Virginia and Louisville both going down.
The algorithm, man, it took them down.
That's crazy. It's crazy. But
it is.
Miami, but if that's their best case scenario, they're still losing by 30 probably.
Well, what do you think about a 2-loss San Diego State?
I would be much more comfortable with that.
Okay.
Nobody's having that conversation yet, though.
I know, it's unfortunate.
I think it comes down to, they haven't played anybody.
Well, I think defensively, they're a stronger candidate than North Texas. I would take, than most of these other teams. I think it's because it's not Boise State. People aren't really talking about the Mountain West, but UNLV was intriguing to me until they kind of sidestepped a little. But San Diego State has emerged both offensively, but primarily defensively as a very impressive team that could probably hold their own, maybe. So,
well, they've got to beat Boise.
It's none of it's easy right now. Nothing.
No, they got to beat Boise. That's and they got them at home, but that's going to be a tough matchup for them. The thing that they do, is the thing that they're really good at offensively is running the football. They've got 3 running backs that they rotate through. One of them, at least one of them, is going to play in the NFL.
I love Lucky Sutton. He's like one of my favorite players.
The quarterback is the problem again.
Yeah.
Where, like Alonzo Barnett, he flashes brilliance and then he comes back and you're like, man, can this guy hit the broadside of a barn? That's really the pitfall here with a lot of these really good teams that are built. And it kind of leads to the NIL discussion where some of these schools have great budgets and they can bring in guys that are pretty good quarterbacks. Appalachian State brought in two really good quarterbacks. Brought one in from Iowa State. They brought one in from LSU who transferred there from Vanderbilt. And they don't have the rest of the team, because they bought the quarterbacks. Yeah.
That's at what cost are you?
Well, these other teams, they got everybody else. They have good teams and they don't have a guy to lead that offense that makes you feel good about it. I think my understanding is that there has to be a group of 5 team in this playoff, but that's not something that's going to continue going forward. Because it's now, I think they're switching they're doing away with seeds. They're doing away with all that. And it's just straight up 1 through 12 is getting in there. It's gonna be rough. It's gonna be rough.
Yeah.
It's gonna be rough. Well, it's rough sledding because when you look at these group of 5 teams, there's not a single one that you look at. The best case scenario, they play Miami. Do they have a chance of winning that game? Probably not.
I mean, I'm not gonna say there's no chance. Miami shoots itself in the foot on very many occasions. So they're not a team where I'd be like, and especially postseason play. Like I would take a Miami over, I would take, a Georgia or I don't know. Maybe actually Notre Dame would be in that category because I don't always trust them in postseason play. So, I mean, there's conversations to be had. Postseason, the way you prepare, bowl season, playoff season, it's different, it's different.
Let's put it this way. Have any of these group of 5 quarterbacks gone up against 2 edge rushers like Reuben Bain Jr. and Akeem Mesidor?
No, probably not.
They haven't. Those guys are very high level. And they can control a game when the offensive line cannot handle them. Those two from those edges can control a game. They can erase a lot of mistakes that, the quarterback on the other side makes. And that's what I look at, when I'm considering these teams. If that's their best case is that they play Miami, then that sucks because they're going to get killed. Even these other schools, it's like, you got Texas Tech up in there. You've got Ole Miss and Georgia and Oregon and Notre Dame and Texas. Yeah. Like these are all powerhouses.
Yeah.
And
which is why the craziest thing is should be Navy. When you're talking about a trench battle, Navy.
Should be Navy, absolutely.
Yeah, should be Navy, but they
couldn't beat North Texas, So I think if they win out, I would be in favor. If Navy wins out, I would be in favor of them getting in. As much as that, again, it pains me to say it's Navy because then if they went out, I'm admitting that they beat Army. But they are the most equipped team to play in the playoff.
They've at least seen it. They've at least seen Notre Dame, South Florida, both are ranked teams. Memphis was ranked at some point. They've at least seen, and North Texas is ranked. So they've seen technically 4 ranked teams. The funny thing is it should have been Memphis. I thought when they beat Arkansas that the season was going to go differently for them, but
I figured that Tulane game was going to be a trip up because it looked like Tulane the week before when they played Texas San Antonio.
I was at that game, which also
it looked like they were looking ahead.
It didn't make any sense.
They had game planned for Memphis all week.
I know we're not supposed to talk about quarterbacks, but talk about Jake Retzlaff looking absolutely garbage in that UTSA.
In that game? Yeah, he was. And then
he was like a non-existent person.
McCown was the better quarterback in that game.
Yeah.
And then he turned around and he had a horrible game the next week,
Against USF. Yeah, I know. Yeah. It doesn't make any sense. And I'm telling you that weekend for me, I did 3 games in 3 days. And I started at UTSA Tulane, which was so weird because it didn't make any sense, first of all. And the Alamo Dome is like magic. It's like an alternate universe, right? And then after the game, I don't know if you saw this, but Jeff Traylor comes in and he's upset. His team just upset Tulane by 22 points. And this man went after every person in the room. He went after the media for all the shit they've been talking. He went after the fans for doubting them. He went after alumni. I literally had to go outside because it was so bizarre and uncomfortable. He just hammered everybody for like 40 minutes. And all the other media and everyone's like, oh, this is normal. Like, this is what? Excuse me, it's not normal for a head coach that just beat a team like that and should be uplifting the program and talking about like, okay, let's put more energy into it. He was shaming everyone. It was crazy. And then he went after, Summerall for the crowd noise, that whole thing. That was crazy. And so then I go to Memphis Rice and I'm thinking, okay, this is going to be a strange game. And it was. And it was pretty normal. And I go into that post game and Ryan Silverfield, a little bit weird. Little bit odd in his post game. It was a strange weekend. And then, I finally make it out to Navy North Texas thinking we're going to get something straightforward. No, can't have nice things ever. The whole trip was wild. That's just where we're at in college football.
No, anyway. But Navy would be in the best position.
Yeah.
To pull an upset. And the reason for that is they play after everybody else does that Army game. So they would be in better shape.
They
don't have as much rust. Yeah. Because that's one of the issues we've seen with this playoff right now. The rust is awful.
If Navy makes it, though, people will literally riot.
If they win out, they're not going to have any choice because South Florida is going to have 3 losses. And they're going to have an AAC championship.
It's gonna put them in there, and then if they lose by a lot, then everyone's like, "See, there's no winning in this situation."
Which is why we really need to have the best 12 teams and seeds be damned.
But then what? I don't. I can't have it. Looking right now. But speaking of Army Navy, obviously Army revealed their uniform. One of the best times of the year is the Army Navy uniform reveal for the game. I can't remember why people go first, but I feel like Army always goes first. I don't know why that is.
Army leads the way.
I guess I'm unsure, but I remember getting up this morning and seeing the email. And then my favorite thing to do is to go through all the details, but I'm curious your thoughts on the uniforms and what they symbolize this year and everything.
Yeah. First off, they look awesome. The font.
It's tough with the whites when you're the whites, it's tough, but
it is, but they nailed the helmet is beautiful. The font is awesome.
The helmet's gorgeous.
The marble with the white that they've left with it is really awesome.
And the symbolism behind that is so, important.
It's great. It hits, and to come out after Veterans Day and drop these things was great. It was awesome.
Yeah.
One of the things that obviously we had the 3-week hiatus at the beginning of the year, and I'm doing a bunch of different stuff. Army wise, but one of the things that I thought was really cool about the release is the focus on, the 7 Army values.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's kind of got their own favorite value. Mine is honor, because it takes honor to embody the rest of them. Now, putting all of those and symbolizing it into a uniform is, I can't even, I'm not creative like that. I can't think of anything like that. So when I'm reading that and they put that out, here's what this means, here's what that means. I thought that was awesome, because that represents the 250 years of the U.S. Army.
Yeah.
And they managed to pack it all into a uniform that they're going to go out there and probably get their asses handed to them by Navy, but they're going to look good doing it. All right. They're going to look good doing it. It's going to be a great day. It's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait.
I think it's the first time I've seen them use the purple, and especially in the outline, which I really, really enjoyed, because in the past couple of years, we've seen a lot of homage from a grittier standpoint, whether it's dirt splatter or, rough and tumble iron and all that kind of stuff. But seeing the purple outline was just a really neat touch, I thought.
They did a great job.
They did
from top to bottom.
I think the font is going to drive some people crazy. I love it. I think it's great. It's so cool and unique and historical. I think it's going to be really tough for announcers and fans.
Yeah, it might be. I was thinking about that a little bit too, but I was like, no, that day that doesn't matter as much. It's about the two.
No, it doesn't usually. But if you're trying to do your job and read the, and know who guys are, you're really going to have to know numbers. You're not going to be able to rely on that. So
the thing that I thought was funny too is Navy responded on their official football account, and they said something about how they always go second because that's what the Navy does. And I was like, yeah.
Oh, okay. So there we go.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, Fallujah went through Fallujah first, and then the Marines came through after that. So, we beat them through there. And we were first, always first. That's debatable, by the way. So don't be, I don't want a bunch of Marines in my comments now, in my DMs.
I think what's really cool about this year is I posted on Twitter, like the past 10 years, who they honored, whether it's the 10th Mountain Division, the 1st Infantry Division, all the different kinds. I think that this one that's all encompassing, especially at a time like now where there is a lot of division in the country and in the sport, I think it's the perfect time to be including just everybody in that 250 years of service. I think that's really, it was just chef's kiss to me to see that.
Yeah. They've hit the hammer on the head pretty much every year with who they've decided to honor.
Which I'm kind of nervous though, because usually we get one that's better than the other, right? I mean, that's traditionally. So does this mean the Navy ones are not going to be good?
I wouldn't say that. I think
what if we had a year where they're both really good? I don't know.
They could be.
We've had that.
They could be.
I'm not allowed to go to the game anymore, so I'm really honestly may not go. And that's my favorite game of the whole year.
I'll call up President Trump and we'll get you there. All right.
It's not that. It's just, I don't want to be the reason if they lose and I'm there, then it's my fault, like default. So I just want it to be a good game.
Well, if they lose, it is a good game.
Oh boy.
Couldn't help myself on that one. It was low hanging fruit. No, I thought it was awesome. I thought they did a great job. I'm excited. Yeah, go Army, beat Navy.
You can't say that every time. Okay, I know that we talked. I'm going to say this is the last thing because I know we're running over. So week 11 or week,
last week.
It was last week, week 12. So I'm looking at week 12 now. Sorry, I cannot believe we're at week 12. Obviously, it's already started. There were some good games on last night, good games on tonight. But is there a game that you're really looking forward to, like a must not miss game this weekend that you'll have dialed in?
Well, obviously, Oklahoma, Alabama has a lot of implications. I kind of lean toward Alabama on that one with the way they've been playing. Sorry, Jim. Put a great team together there. But that game has a lot of implications. I think that's going to be interesting.
You mentioned South Florida Navy. Obviously, people are going to have eyes on that.
Yeah, because that's important to the playoff picture as well. Texas, Georgia, Athens.
Yeah.
Georgia's at this moment favored by 5.5. Arch, look, at the beginning of the year, what did I tell you about Arch Manning? I know we're talking about quarterbacks, but this is not draft related.
We're not supposed to.
It's not draft related. All right. Okay. At the beginning of the year, when he had that terrible performance against Ohio State and everybody's jumping on him, I was
freaking out.
He's gonna be a totally different quarterback by, what did I say, week 11?
I think so. We'll have to go back and check the tape.
He's been a totally different quarterback these last few games. And it seems it's like the speed and everything just kind of clicked against Oklahoma. So this could be a really good game. Georgia's defense is something that we've always vaunted and always, oh man, they're so good. It's one of the best. Kirby Smart's a defensive genius. This is probably the worst unit he's had so far.
Yeah.
And that's where, the Florida game is really close. I know Georgia's had some other really tight ones. I can't think of them off the top of my head. I got to pull it up.
This year?
The Tennessee game was really close.
Oh, yeah.
The Ole Miss game was really close. They had to come back and win that one with the offense. Texas is going to probably be able to go toe-to-toe with Georgia. And it's going to be interesting to see who has the ball last. And because I think that's who wins the game. It's going to be that kind of a game. But who also, can Georgia's offense run the ball on Texas's defense?
Yeah.
People have had issues with all year. And if they can force Gunnar Stockton to beat them, Texas will probably come out of there victorious. Which would be awesome to watch Georgia go down at home in Athens between the hedges. That would be awesome. And that might be a Tennessee fan in me coming out a little bit, but it'd be retribution for what the media kind of did with Arch Manning after that.
Oh yeah.
Ohio State game. So
I gotta say, obviously there's a lot of great big games on. Weirdly, I'm going to be watching Southern Miss. How crazy has it been to see Southern Miss do so well, especially after we talked to Coach Huff on the podcast?
Yeah, I watched them this weekend when they played Arkansas State.
It's impressive.
That I think the things that we kind of asked him about with, how are you getting these guys to adjust? I thought what was really interesting was he was talking about guys, they've been in the system for 2 or 3 years now. Because they weren't at Ole Miss. They weren't at Marshall. I mean, they weren't at Southern Miss. They were Marshall with him. So
right. He brought a lot of guys from Marshall, yes.
He brought the culture with him.
He did.
And
it's his culture. It's not Marshall's culture. It's his culture as a coach, and he's brought it with him everywhere he's been. The question now is someone going to try and take him away? I mean, I saw a post about it and I was like, God, no, not Huff. Leave him be. But
well, it's about to be. We know how the coaching carousel is going to be. Yep. We had another one go down recently. Auburn.
Yeah.
So
nobody's safe.
I mean,
but in that case, it would be a good carousel for him. But I just hope that he just stays for a little bit, because I think it's a really good fit culturally. I think it's a good fit for the kind of football he plays, and it's fun to watch, so I hope that he at least gives it a couple weeks to build that.
I think Southern Miss has got a good chance to retain him. Considering they have the largest NIL collective in, I think, the entire group of 5 right now. So I think that's going to help them a little bit. But it's been awesome to see that they got a chance to knock Texas State from bowl contention. Who saw that one coming even 3 months ago? GJ Kinney was talked about as like the hottest name.
I know. I remember I went to one of their games last year and everyone was like, this is the dude, this is the guy, but it has not gone well this year for him. So
it's been pretty rough at Texas State. So Now, did Southern Miss have a quarterback controversy start this week?
I'm not sure. I would have to look.
Because I think Braxton got hurt and he came out for a while. And there was another guy who was playing, Landry Liddy, yeah. Mm-hmm. And
he's a junior.
He was freaking good. Like, and then I guess Braxton got to the point where he was okay to come back in. He came back in and finished the game.
Yeah.
But he was freaking spinning it. I was like, who is this guy?
He was at UAB and Louisiana Tech prior.
Really? So Coach Huff was up there. He was defiling Coach Trent Dilfer too. Look at that. Nobody listened to that guy.
I mean, real recognize real, I think is what it is. And that's where that's where we leave it.
I loved his answer to that. That was so awesome a few weeks ago.
He's the best. All right. Well, I think that's gonna do it, right?
Yeah, I think so. The Vols have nothing to play for, but go Vols. Disappointing year. Oklahoma knocked us out.
Yeah.
So now there's always truly next year. Analysis mode. Always next year. It's what we always say at Tennessee, always next year. We'll beat Alabama. We'll get you next year.
Wait.
Vanderbilt might beat us. That'll be great.
Yes.
But I think that's pretty much everything I've got.
Well, we hope you enjoyed that. It was a whopper because we had 2 weeks off, so we had a lot to say, but definitely stick around. I'm Emily Van Buskirk. He's John Vogel, and we'll see you next time on the Sick Podcast Draft Digest.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Draft Digest on YouTube, X, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.